Episode 25 of the Loose and Groovy Baseball Show. Today is April 11th. We are 2 weeks into the MLB season, and this is kind of our first full episode here as we're kind of starting to get into the nitty-gritty of the season. The reason we didn't do an episode last week is Parker was actually able to go home and go to a Tigers game. So I wanted to hear a little bit about that and how that was.
Oh, it was awesome, dude. The Tigers were playing the White Sox. We had Jackson Joe for his first home start pitching, which was amazing. I believe we were going up against Martin Perez, right? I think you were
Yeah.
talking about
Yep.
that. And he's dominated us in the past, and he did dominate us this game.
Did.
And then luckily in the ninth inning, it was what was the score? It was 2-0, and then we rallied and scored 3 runs
Hmm.
after like a plunk, some walks, nothing insane, and then Torkelson smoked a double. So it was a lot of fun. It was absolutely freezing the whole game. I wish I would have prepared better for the Detroit weather, but overall, just a great time.
Yeah, that completed a three-game sweep of my White Sox as well, which was a little disappointing on my end, especially coming after the opening day weekend we had, and things have not gotten better for us since then either. So appreciate that. But yeah, I'm glad you're able to go and enjoy that, especially for Detroit's home opener. I bet that was good energy, and to see Joe pitch is also very exciting
Oh yeah.
as well. So for today's episode, we have this was Parker's idea actually. So we're going to be doing buying or selling hot and cold starts. So pretty much we have me and Parker both have a list of five teams or players who have either gotten off to a good start or kind of a bad start. And we're going to be saying if we think that is something that's going to keep happening, or if we're going to be selling that and saying we think they're either going to get better or they're going to get worse, et cetera, et cetera. And that is going to kind of lead us through this conversation of just what's been going on in baseball. And I'm sure we'll trail off into some other teams and players as we go along. So, do you want to get us started with your first one?
I will. So I'm gonna get started with a player to begin, and I'm gonna go with Ben Rice. So he's had a extremely hot start, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs, 11 hits out of his 42 plate appearances with a 1.085 OPS. And I'm gonna be honest, these numbers don't even really do justice for how well he's been squaring the ball up. Last year, his stats were not very good. He just kind of came up, and it was kind of a tough scenario because he was only coming up because Anthony Rizzo went down with an injury. So he knew that like his time there was limited, so you kind of have to rush, and like it gets a little anxious when you know that like as soon as Anthony Rizzo was healthy last year, you're gonna get set right back down. So like there's a lot of pressure. This year there's none of that. There's no pressure. Um Last year 171 batting average and 150 plate appearance, 150 at bats with a 613 OPS. And just looking at his baseball savant, last year there was flashes that showed some like promising stuff, like 98th percentile in barrel rate. Expected batting average was kind of low. Like the contact numbers didn't really show much. And then this year, if you look at his savant, it looks as good as anybody else's. Especially like Aaron Judge. I compared his to Aaron Judge, and his was more red, which is insane to me. 97th percentile in expected WOBA, 100th percentile in average exit velocity, 100th percentile in hard hit percentage, 99th percentile in barrel percentage, 98th percentile in expected slugging, and 89th in expected batting average, which is his biggest problem at 317. And he's, like I said, he's kind of shooting short of those numbers as he has a 306 right now. So I think this is gonna continue, not to this degree, but I can definitely see him batting like 260 this year with like an 8, like 48, 50 OPS, and maybe like 30 home runs. So if he keeps that up, that's massive for the Yankees.
Yeah, I will say so like I don't really even know the answer to this question, but do you think like Baseball Savant is still like a reliable look at underlying metrics even this early on into the season? Like I don't see why it wouldn't be, but like I'm not like I obviously I
Yeah.
don't think Ben Rice is going to have this stuff like at the end of the season, but do you think looking at it now it's a pretty good tell of what is going on and how good that bat has been?
Uh, That's a totally fair question because like we barely even got started. So like you square up one ball and like it jumps like 5%. Um, I would say like be careful with using it that much like this early on. But I will also say when you're in the 100th percentile in two different major like exit velocity categories and you're in the 99th in another, I feel like you can't really look over that and like there's
Yeah.
something had to have changed. So you
Yeah.
definitely got to be careful this early on. But
I will say, I think it was last year when he got called up. He either had like a two home run or three home run game in like one of his first games with the Yankees. And he did get off to a really good start, and then it tapered off again. But I think, like what you were saying, it was with Rizzo being out, kind of unexpected. You knew you weren't going to be there permanently. And now this year, I think they found more of a solidified role for him. And
yeah,
to see this development already, and then probably with Goldschmidt being gone next year, you definitely are looking at probably your first baseman of the future. And seeing these kind of numbers early on is definitely very encouraging. So I'm all for that one for sure. Okay, so I'm going to start mine off with the Angels, and
ooh, I
this
like it.
is this is a sour one for me because unfortunately during the offseason, the Angels were one of the teams I don't want to say I was kind of high on them because every time I brought it up, and even if I brought it up to you, I always was shot down very quickly. And it was kind of like I was looking at it and I was like, okay, man, this offense kind of looks okay. There's pieces here. I'm still concerned, but I think they could play. But popular notion was kind of just making fun of the Angels, doing whatever. Like they're horribly ran, like they're not a good team. And so I kind of backed off that a little bit. And honestly, I'm still happy I did, despite the hot start. So they're 8-4, but I think I'm gonna sell the hot start if that's like how you would say it
Yeah,
correctly. I'm not buying into the Angels at all, to be honest with you. I think it's awesome the start that they've gotten off to, and seeing like yesterday, I think Joe Adele had two home runs, Mike Trout had two home runs, and one other player did, I'm pretty sure, but I can't remember who it was.
Taylor Ward.
Taylor Ward, okay.
Mhm.
And then you have Kyron Paris, who is 23 years old and hitting like he's been in the league for 5 years. Logan O'Hoppy's also been doing really good. They're getting production from all over the field, and it is fun to see. But I hate how everybody is jumping on this bandwagon now when the only reason they weren't at the start of the season is because it's the Angels. Like it's just they automatically get discredited, I feel like. And
Mhm.
I don't know why that just makes me angry for some reason. But anyway, I'm not buying anything into the Angels. I'm buying no stock into this team. I think they are not, my biggest argument is they are not built for they're not built for 162 games at all,
Yeah.
I don't think. This team is one bad injury away from being mediocre again, and I think it could come from any of their people. I love seeing Mike Trout be healthy, and it's been 13 games or whatever it is, but from what we've seen in the past, is he going to be healthy? I don't really know. And then you have production from all over the field, but how reliable is that for 162 games? Like, is Kyron Paris going to be hitting whatever it is, 400 and five home runs at 13 games? I don't think so. And they're getting production from so many different guys, and I just don't see that being a consistent tale of the tape for 162 games. I think if you're looking at like, if we were in the 2020 season, like that 60 game season, the Angels would probably be one of my favorite teams to like make a run or be really good. But because it's 162, I just see them kind of falling back down to earth and being a middle of the road team, kind of like they have been. And I guess my biggest concerns would be just from the rotation and the bullpen. Like Kyle Hendricks has a sub two ERA and two starts. Like nobody would have
Yeah.
predicted that. And do I think he's going to keep that? Probably not. And
No.
the bullpen still concerns me. Like even the rotation, we've seen good signs from Kahanowitz. Soriano's look really good, and then Kendricks, like I said as well. But there's not enough for me to buy in here, which is kind of weird because at the start of the season I would have said, okay, maybe I see something. But even now, seeing like the best of what the Angels can be, I don't think it's going to be good enough to last a full season. So I'm definitely going to be selling them.
Yeah. I was gonna say you said they're one injury away from like being a lot worse. I think they're one, like you said, they're one like Kyron Paris not being an MVP away
Yeah.
from just kind of going back down to earth. And I completely agree. We were talking about this earlier that you picked this team. I didn't know your take on it if you're gonna buy or sell it, but I was like, there's no way he's gonna buy this.
Mm-mm.
Um, I don't know. I'm excited for Angels fans. Like
100%.
this is something. And like I was looking, MLB posted Mike Trout's two home run day, and he
Hey,
like responded to it like we're vibing. And then on his story, he posted like the win and like I feel like I've never seen him do that. I've always followed him. He never has really like
done something like that.
had that much enjoyment for baseball. It seems like because they just lose so much. Um, so I'm happy for that. In terms of the rotation. I think Soriano's really good. I think he's going to be a solid pitcher. After that, there's like a ton of question marks. I'm honestly more worried about Kikuchi than I am Soriano.
Yeah, he has not looked great so far,
No,
unfortunately.
he's got a 5 ERA in 18 innings, 1.28 WHIP. I don't know, but he can figure it out. But I think he'll sit at like 4.42 or something all throughout the year, which you need him to be more than that if you want to
Right.
keep this pace up. So I agree.
Want to get us going on number two?
Yes. Let's see. So I got the New York Mets. They're 8-4, and I'm gonna do a soft sell on this. I'm not gonna do a hard sell on the hot start. Um, but as you've seen, the Mets do lead the ERA and the MLB and ERA at a 2.1, which I think the next one is like a 2.78 or something. So they're like there's a big gap between the one and two team ERA leaders. I don't think this is sustainable at all. Like this rotation and this bullpen, I was super low on them going in. Not super low, but like low compared to like the standards that they were putting on the Mets
Mhm.
because they got Juan Soto and they re-signed all these guys. Um, but like Sean Manaea is not back, and he's like their guy that they go to. Clay Holmes does not look like the guy. Well, it was always tough to kind of tell because you're just kind of bringing him in, throwing him into the starting rotation. So you don't really know how he's going to do, but there were some high expectations. He's got a 1.7 whip in 14 innings. He has 9 walks in 14 innings.
Yeah.
So like there's huge command issues like having him pitch that much compared to his usual like one or two at the most innings last year. So that's scary. He's got a 276 batting average against, which is the most on the Mets squad. Tyler McGill, I like him. David Peterson, I also like him. Kodai Senga started out good. Griffin Canning, I like, is he gonna post a 2.79 ERA throughout the whole year? Like, there's no way, right?
Yeah, no.
So I don't know. Their offense has looked decent. The guys that you expect, like Juan Soto, he's doing amazing. Let me get their hitting. I'm
Honestly,
just I'm not buying it.
so I mean, I was just gonna a really quick off note of your Juan Soto. He's been good, but I feel like maybe just my expectations are like so high for this guy because of like the money he's getting. But like, would you say, I don't even know what he's making a year, but would you say he's playing up to, so that's such a stupid question because it's like only been 13 games, but like playing up to the
No,
caliber
I
of
think
like what the Mets would expect.
probably not. Not even.
Yeah, he has one home run. That's it. And I mean,
And he
143
walks so
OPS he
much. He
does.
doesn't because he takes so many pitches, I feel like.
Yeah, he's walking 17% of the time and striking out 11%.
Like
That's
he walks a ton, but it's almost like you want him to like okay, you can expand the zone a little bit to
yeah,
just drive some
crazy.
runs in. I don't know. He knows his approach better than I do, and I don't I think what we've seen from him the past few years, if he can just stay on that,
Yeah,
that'd
he's
be
got a
amazing.
846 OPS right now. Like it's
Yeah.
good, but like you need him to be in the nines and high nines
And
if
he will
like
be.
not
I think he's
more.
gonna
Yeah.
settle in that.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah.
do you I have a couple things unless you want to keep
No,
going.
no, no, you're good. Go ahead.
Um, so you said you're soft selling, which I think is fair. It's been nice to see. So I've watched a few of Clay Holmes's starts, and
Hmm.
yeah, the walks are concerning, but the stuff is pretty good, and I feel confident in him being a high threes guy. It
Okay.
is it kind of sucks to see. He usually only goes like he's been going like maybe 4 innings just because I think still working him up and like getting that starter kind of becoming like that starter again and like getting the innings work up and
Yeah.
kind of ramping him up. But honestly, from what I've seen, I'm not like I know the 4-3 area isn't great, but I'm not too concerned with him. I think he'll be one of the more dependable arms they have in this bullpen. I mean, rotation, and not
Yeah.
even from the inning side of it, but I feel like he'll give you like 4 to 5 innings of 2, 3 run ball. And with the offense they have, I think you're going to take that for the Mets. So I do like Clay Holmes so far in the starter role. I think he's
Hmm.
been solid. And like you said, like Tyler McGill, Kodai Senga, David Peterson,
Yeah.
they've all looked pretty solid. And I agree with what you're saying. Probably not going to see that over 162, but it is very encouraging to see this whole pitching staff be the best in the league and by a pretty good margin.
Yeah.
And if they can even be something near that, I mean, the concerns were was that was their concerns heading into the season, and seeing that be dependable now, and you've got the offense to make a good run. So
Right.
I think that seeing this is a very encouraging start for Mets fans, and starting 8-4 when other teams like the Braves are barely scraping together wins,
Mhm.
that's very, very encouraging for them. Uh, Mark Vientos has been awful. Have you looked at his numbers at all?
I did not. I was looking at the leaders and stats. He must have just been at the bottom, dude. That like everybody was kind of predicting that to happen, weren't they? I feel like I saw a lot of people like, oh yeah, he's gonna be like average next year, which
Yeah.
from last year, that's a crazy assumption, but it looks like it's kind of panning out that way.
Yeah, he's got a 119 batting average. He's slugging 167 with a 245 on base, OPS plus of 22. Has not hit a home run
Jeez.
yet, two doubles, only 5 hits in 49 plate appearances. I have
Mm,
not seen any of Mark Vientos yet. I haven't looked at like his ABs or stuff like that. But the numbers definitely do tell a pretty big story here. I don't know, maybe teams have figured something out with his approach. I'm not, maybe he like crushes fastballs and they're giving him all breaking balls and he can't adjust to that. He's still a
yeah.
young hitter, so I think it's expected to have these growing pains, but pretty not encouraging to see that because he was a very big piece of production for them last year with the 27 home runs. So
Mhm.
it is tough to see that from your third baseman. So hopefully he can turn it around. But
Yeah.
all right, well, I will get going on my next. I have another team here. I have the Miami Marlins starting off 6-6. I think it's fair to call that a hot start for the Marlins, kind of.
Yeah, for them, yeah.
And I'm gonna buy it. I think I my kind of hot take here is I think there's a decent chance the Marlins finish above the Nationals this season, just from what we've seen
Hmm.
in these first 13 games. Um, Xavier Edwards and Otter Lopez look like a really good 1-2 punch up the middle. Both their numbers have been solid, and defensively, they're also very good. Matt Mervis has been one of their leading bats, and he's been that exactly. He's got an 899 OPS, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, striking out quite a bit, but I mean, the numbers are still there, and he even is coming off a hot spring training, and I think he'll probably lead the team in home runs this year. I think he could reach 25, maybe give him 30 if he gets to like, really gets hot towards the end of the season. But it's nice to see him get off to a good start. Griffin Conine has shown flashes. 652 OPS so far. But I think if you talk to any Marlins fan, they're very encouraged by what they're seeing from him. Derek Hill even is at a 807 OPS, and then Nick Fortes behind the dish, 833 OPS with 3 RBIs. And then the 3 walk-off wins for their first wins. That's obviously very exciting.
No.
And then even so they did face the Braves in a 3-game set, but that third game got postponed. But they did split the first two, and they could have won that series too. And not that the Braves have been great,
Hmm.
but just saying they're competing with these teams, and the Braves historically have demolished the Marlins.
Yeah.
And then even looking at the pitching side, Max Meyer looks very good in 18 innings. He's got a 2 ERA. Connor Gillespie also 14 innings, a 3.86. Sandy looks like he's kind of ramping back up. He might be gone at the deadline. I wouldn't be surprised, but he's got a 3.72 area in 9 and 2/3 innings. Max Meyer's got 19 strikeouts, by the way, in 18 innings. That's very encouraging.
Wow.
And then even Belozo got a 2.25 ERA in 8 innings. So the rotation is getting it done here. And I think the offense is very exciting enough and just has got a lot of fun young talent here that even at the start of the season, we were both pretty low on the Marlins. That seeing them now, I think they could be one of those like just really fun teams to watch as compared to maybe what we were expecting from like a Nationals or an Athletics. And not to say that those teams aren't exciting right now, but I
Mhm.
would say the Marlins are kind of jumping into that conversation now too, where they're just a fun watch. They're a fun team. They're really young, and it's enjoyable and much more enjoyable than like a White Sox right now. Like there's so much to buy into with the Marlins, and I would much rather turn on a game for them than to turn on a game with the White Sox. So I'm gonna
Whoa, take it easy. Take it easy on your team.
if you watch an
Lost eight in a
18 losing
row.
streak, yeah, I don't even know. I
Yeah.
can go on a little White Sox tangent if you want, but so yeah, I'm gonna buy the hot start. I think they'll be solid this year, and I think they're gonna be not a fun team to face. So that's my second one.
Yeah, I honestly can't even say that much about him because I've just kind of been away from the Marlins hype.
Yeah,
Um, I definitely agree that that first three games walking off is amazing, and it's also so brutal for Pirate fans.
yeah,
Like the Pirates, I think so far what the Pirates have done is just like a sign for like what the whole year is going to be. Like Skeen still like being a great pitcher, Mitch Keller being solid, hitting being horrible, like all other pitching not being good. Like, dude, I feel bad. Like I think what's happened is what they've seen happen the past like 10 years, and it's just gonna that's just gonna how the season's gonna go. So that's kind of
did you see Andrew Heaney had 10 strikeouts against the Yankees the other day?
did he really?
Yeah, 7 innings. I'm like, what? I don't get it. It's not like they needed another good arm, but
He
I was like, I saw him going late, and I was like, okay, it's a pretty good start. And then I saw the 10 strikeouts, and I was like, whoa, where did
yeah.
that come from? Like, kind of
I,
felt like it was out of
I feel
nowhere.
like he's always had that stuff too. Like
Hmm.
he's always had that in his back pocket to just strike out like 12, 10, 12 guys.
Yeah, the
But
Pirates
he's
are
still
just
gonna
gonna
like
lose.
post like a 4.6 ERA this year,
Yeah,
five or but
and Tommy Pham's on the Pirates. I feel like that just makes sense. Like the journeyman
yeah.
guy, just doing it on a team that it doesn't really matter right now, and he's walking off games in the 10th inning. Like it's just. Of course, he's on the Pirates, so yeah.
Yeah. I do like Max Meyer though. I think they're like you said, the rotation does look good. Um, yeah, 18 innings, yeah, 19 strikeouts is
Yeah.
crazy. He
Two,
was kind of that like high prospect that they were like looking at. So
right.
I definitely don't think this is a fluke. I don't know if he'll hold the 2 ERA, but I think he's still gonna be a very solid pitcher.
100%.
Um, okay, my next one. I'm gonna go with Giants. I sound so pessimistic with all these because I'm not buying any of these hot starts. But I'm definitely gonna sell this one, probably a harder sell than the Mets. And I don't even have like a ton of stuff to like back this up on, but like I'm kind of backing it. It's kind of on like the foundation of like their division. They have not played any divisional games, and I think as soon as the Giants have to start playing the D-backs, Dodgers, Padres, I think they're gonna be in some trouble. And right now they're second best in ERA at 2.78. And just looking at this starting rotation, it scares me so much. Logan Webb does not scare me at all. He's going to be amazing. We've talked about him so many times on here. But Justin Verlander is showing his age. He's got a 7 ERA in 13 innings. Still very early, but Landon, is it Roop? Raup?
I'm gonna say Roop, but either
Okay,
way.
I think you're right. I think it's Landon Roop. He's looked solid. Jordan Hicks has looked solid, but like with Jordan Hicks, what scares me is last year do you remember he started like crazy good?
Yep.
Like at the beginning of the season, he was crazy good, and then um last year I think the reasoning was like he was going from that relief pitching role to the starter. So like as he kind of had to pitch more and more, it kind of got tougher. This year, who knows if that'll happen because like last year he was kind of built up to a starter. So maybe this year he can sustain it. So that's kind of something to
Yeah.
look out for. Robbie Ray has not been great in the past few 2 to 3 years. Um, he started out pretty solid, so I don't know if that'll hold up. Their bullpen's always decent. They always like can piece it together. It seems like Tyler Rogers is really good. Community Duvall, who actually hasn't even started that well. He's still got some nasty stuff. So the pitching, I don't think it's gonna hold up this. The hitting, like my big thing, like Wilmer Flores.
Yeah.
He's got 5 home runs right now. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? 14 RBIs. That might be like leading the league.
It'd be
14
pretty
RBIs.
close, I think.
918 OPS, 273 average. Like, is he gonna hold this up? There's no way. Um, and then like you got other guys that are just doing it that you kind of expect to. Matt Chapman a little slow start. Willie Adames slow start. Like Tyler Fitzgerald looks lost compared to last year.
Yeah.
They need like guys to step up, and I think as soon as they start to play these kind of powerhouses within their division, I think it's going to be very, very tough for the Giants.
So remind me, Parker, in our second base rankings,
Okay, it looks like it sounds like okay.
where was Tyler Fitzgerald on your list? Was he top seven, top six, or was he in there? Was he in it on your
I
top?
actually have no idea. I'm guessing he was, if
I
you're
think he
saying
was.
that.
I'm almost
I don't
positive.
know. I don't know if he was.
I no, I
I think he
remember
just
our conversation about it. You were higher on him than I was, so
well, he was great last year, but yeah,
we'll
it
debate
it's
that
not
one.
look good at all.
So I will say, yeah, Wilmer Flores is an oddity. How about Jung Hoo Lee though? 155 WRC plus,
Mhm.
333 average. That's very, very encouraging for Giants fans who, when he missed the whole season last year, that sucked. And finally starting to see that bat come around and be what it was when they signed him. So that I think I'm very excited about that, and I hope he can stay healthy for a full season.
The defense has looked amazing too.
Where is he outfielder? I don't even know.
Center field,
Okay, center field.
yeah, great
Um,
defense.
even Yaz, he's got a 193 WRC plus. He had that awesome walk-off homer yesterday into McCovey Cove. He
Hmm.
looked solid, but again, that's kind of a guy, age 34. Are we going to expect that the whole season? Probably not. I will
Yeah.
say it is encouraging to see the Giants do this good, even when who you expect the top performers to be not be performing at the highest level. Like Chapman at a 108 WRC plus is like maybe a little lower than what you're expecting, but it's mostly
Yeah.
gonna be defense with him. So I think he'll, turn it around too. But like Adamas being at a 37 WRC plus, like he's off to a really, really slow start. And
Hmm.
if a Wilmer Flores or a Yastrzemski take a step back, if Willie Diamond takes that step forward, he might
Yeah.
be able to fill in for some of that production.
You're
So
right.
I'm very encouraged by seeing production from other parts of this lineup, and it's kind of a very good team effort. And I know we kind of joked about it, but that one year where they had 101 wins, it was like kind of just like a really random year. And that's kind of the vibes I'm getting here, where nobody's really expecting it. They've had like, 80 wins, 70 win seasons the past couple of
Hmm.
years. And maybe they just piece it together and make it work this year. And that's kind of what we're seeing so far. Um, yeah, I would not sell maybe as much as you are selling it. Do I think it's gonna be they're not gonna, sustain this kind of a level of playing. But I
Yeah.
think you have a really good point of playing division competitors and playing the Dodgers and playing the Diamondbacks, playing the Padres, who are all off to pretty good starts as well, that you might start to see this team regress to the mean. But it kind of makes you second guess where you had them placed like at the start of the season where they were kind of
Hmm.
just chalked into fourth, and now you're saying maybe a third or second place finish for the Giants. So they've been a really fun watch, and I'm excited for them. So yeah,
Um, it was 107 wins in 2021.
107 wins.
And their team, like on paper, didn't even look good. Like, is this
Right.
just might be what the Giants do every
Yeah.
other year?
Just kind of find it.
Um, so okay, I guess my question, first of all, do you agree with like obviously they're not going to keep up the pace of winning 3 out of 4 games, like a
Yeah.
75% clip, but like for a couple things, like where do you have them winning? Like, do you think they're going to win more than like 84 games? I don't think they're going to finish third in the division. I think they're going to finish fourth
Okay. So
if I
you're
had to guess, but
yeah. So it is so hard to want to make that jump, to be honest with you. Yeah, maybe not. If anything, I would be more pessimistic about the Padres start. I don't think the Padres are that well rounded to see this kind of performance over a full
Mhm.
season. So if anything, I would feel more confident in the Giants finishing third, maybe,
Okay.
over the Padres, and the Padres finishing fourth. But even then, that's hard to say because the Padres have looked really good too. That offense has looked great. Um, no, but I see what you're saying though. It is like even with this really good start, it's so hard to put them above 84 wins or above fourth because just
Yeah.
because of the division, but also just because of who's actually on this team when you look at it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd be on your side and say it wouldn't be too different. Um, yeah, I think I'd agree with you. Like
I mean, I hope
under
they prove me
84.
wrong. I hope they
Yeah.
win 94 games and finish second.
Yeah.
Um,
Because even
so
they had that series against the Dodgers in 22, which was really exciting. I remember watching that, and that was even before I was really tuned into
mhm.
baseball. And that's fun baseball when those two get into a playoff
Oh
series.
yeah,
That would be
that's like one of the biggest rivalries in the
yeah.
history. So
So that would be awesome for sure. Do you have anything else on the Giants?
no, that's it.
All right.
Take it
So
away.
my next one is my first player. I've got Luis Robert Jr. It sucks. It sucks a lot. I'm buying the cold start though, 100%. I'll probably put a picture up here of what I'm talking about, but I was watching the game 2 days ago and I sent this to you and Kevin. I was watching him against Emmanuel Clase, who honestly didn't even look that good with his stuff. He was pitching outside to all the White Sox players and was walking a few guys, letting up hits, just didn't look good. And Luis Robert Jr. goes up to bat, and Clase throws three cutters in a row outside of the box, all in the same exact spot. And Robert Jr. did the same thing every time and swung at them. And I think his third swing, it even looked like it was just such a lazy swing. And the thing that frustrates me the most is nothing looks different from what it did last year when he came back from his injury. And the numbers back that up too. It is just the same story with Luis Robert Jr.
Yeah.
this year. And that's why I was saying they need to trade him because I didn't feel like it was going to be any different. Even if it was, it would have had to been really good to get the value you want for him, as opposed to like trading him at the value he was at. And man, 13 games in the season, it is so discouraging to see what this guy's doing. The bat is just not there right now at all. I don't know what he needs to do. Maybe he just needs to get out of Chicago and get a new hitting coach, get a new staff behind him, and a new atmosphere. But I don't know. Seeing this now over almost a full season last year, or pretty much a full season last year, and now bleeding into the start of this year, just has me super, super concerned. So I'm 100% buying the cold start. Something needs to change for me to believe that
Yeah.
he's going to do something different. But right now, I have no reason to believe that he is that all-star caliber player that he was. I just don't. You don't see it in him anymore, which is sad. But I feel like that's just the reality.
Yeah, I this is like a brutal comparison, but I feel like he's like taking the Javi Baez like trajectory of like, and it's like they're totally different players, but like great like players like running into like some great contact throughout like a couple of years or whatever. I guess he had one good year, but
Yeah.
and then like the play discipline just goes like down the drain.
Right.
And watching players with that lose their play discipline like that, which I don't know how bad Luis is his play discipline pretty bad?
Yeah, so he's striking out 30% of the time right now, which is
Yeah.
about where it was at last year. He likes to pull the ball a lot, and that's where it becomes
Yeah.
an issue. When he can't pull it, he can't really hit it. And so yeah.
Mm.
And in that game, the two at bats I saw, I think he swung at every pitch he saw, which is like, yeah, so definitely struggling with that.
And like with Javi, it's to the point where like his play discipline looks so bad and like every at bat is just like so frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
And I feel like when he does like run into like a single or a double or even like a home run, it just feels like a fluke. So I don't know if like Luis is when he hits like a home run, if it's gonna be like, okay, like he just ran into one, he finally pulled it.
Yeah,
Um,
he hasn't even hit
it's
one
just
yet, which is like crazy to me. Like
yeah,
it's just the power is gone. I'm assuming the bat to ball skills are all just gone. And then looking at his savant is it's super discouraging.
yeah.
Nothing underlying likes what he's doing at all. The only thing that's high is his bat speed, which clearly isn't helping him whatsoever. Whiff and K percentage is all super low. All the expected numbers are low. Like it's a deep rooted issue for him, and he's going to have to get something switched or figured out if he wants to return to any kind of form that he was. But this is what we were worried about, and unfortunately, that's what the reality is. And I do want to like really quick note on the White Sox. They've lost 8 in a row. They're 2-10, and it is like no different from what it was last year. Unfortunately, it's like it's April 11th, and I already just cannot watch this team play baseball. Like it's back to the point of where if the team we're playing gets an early lead, there's pretty much no point in watching the game anymore because there's nobody in this lineup that you can count on to be that difference maker or
Yeah.
to provide run support or even be a decent hitter. And the fact that we're already at that point this early in the season is super like just sucky. And maybe I'm just overreacting, but it's very similar to what I was watching at the end of last season. And
Yeah.
it's not that different of a team. And now you have Talkman go down, Corey Lee went down, and Benintendi went down, which is just brutal. The one
Benintendi's down too.
Yeah, he had, I think it was an abductor strain or something. I don't even know
Dude.
if it was during the game or what, but he was our best hitter at the start of the season. He was batting near
Yeah.
300. He had 2 home runs, and now
That's
he's gone. Talkman had 3 singles in the game he got hurt, and I know you saw him rounding third and pulling that hamstring. He had a 3 for 4 game that day, and I think he walked in that last inning against Clase as well. Um, so yeah, it's just the worst. It keeps getting worse. The one bright spot is Chase Mindroth just got called up, which I'm really excited about. I think he'll be probably the best hitter right away, to be honest with you, because his bat to ball skills in the minors are very impressive. So I'm excited about that. I think it'll be worth it to watch him. And as soon as some of the other guys get up, I think it'll be more enjoyable as well. But right now, I just don't see a point. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'll watch Sean Burke and I'll watch a Shane Smith start, and that's about it. Maybe Davis Martin, but other than
so
that,
3 out of 5.
yeah, 3 out of 5 days.
3 out of 5 games.
That then I'll watch. But other than that, it's just like, well, I'm gonna watch
Yeah.
Jonathan Cannon give up 5 runs in 5 innings, and maybe Martin Perez will spin a couple nice more innings and outings, but I'm not really optimistic about him either. So we'll see. But that was just my quick little side tangent.
Yeah, that's rough with the offense losing those guys. That watching Talkman rounding to tie the
That's
game,
so
and he
sad.
would have scored. I think he would have
He would
scored
have.
if he
It was easy. I think he was definitely there. He's got the speed for it. And
dude.
I don't even know what happened at first, but you saw him like I thought at first I thought he just wasn't going to be in time and he just decided to slow down for whatever reason.
Yeah,
And then he falls down, slams his helmet, and then you see the replay.
dude.
And it's just like, and especially him, he just came off the IL and it's just
And
sucked.
who hit that? Didn't the guy running the first injure himself too?
Uh
Well, there's another injury. I feel like
did it really?
I thought I saw like the guy that hit it also get injured running to first base. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
I can't even remember who hit it now that you say that, but maybe they did, and the focus was just on Talkman.
dude.
Who did hit that? Was it
Hawkman
Vargas?
Hawkman's at bats were so good too. Like
Yeah,
at the game I went to, he was just like a thorn on our side. I think he walked 2 or 3 times, got on base like 4 times. Like
he's
he puts
good.
together some good at bats. So you guys need him back as soon as possible. I'm guessing it's 10-day IL. I saw his
Yeah,
hamstring.
I think Corey, Talkman, and Benintendi are all 10-day.
Oh, dude, that's rough.
Yep. All right, well, that's enough on the White Sox. You can get us going
Yeah,
on number
okay.
four.
Luckily we haven't gotten to the part of the season where I get on my Tigers rant, but we will be
Yeah.
there. Give us a week or 2 weeks and we'll be at that point too. Um, I have Brendan Donovan and I'm completely buying his hot start. His Savant looks the same as again, I'm going to the Savant. Like we were talking about, take it with a grain of salt because it is early. But he's been a super consistent hitter the past few years. Ever since he came up, let me see. Yeah, 2022 he came up, posted a 4 WAR with the Gold Glove, 773 OPS, 124 OPS plus. Then he had a 2 WAR in 2023 with a 787 OPS with a 114 OPS plus. And then last year, 14 home runs, 73 RBIs, 280 average, 760 OPS, with a 113 OPS plus. So just extreme like consistency the first 3 years. And then last or this year, he's already posted a .9 WAR in 12 games.
Hmm.
Can you get the pace on that? I know he's not gonna hold it, but
Let me
uh,
do some math.
yeah, 162 divided by 12 times .9. Um, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 980 OPS, and like the big thing that's stood out to me is we've seen the steady progression in power from 5 to 11 to 14, and now to like he's got a 560 slugging percentage. The power is just like steadily increasing as he just gets more time in the majors. and his average is just not taking a hit as he's doing this. So I think his power, I think his slugging numbers are going to be up at least like 30 or 40 points from last year. And I think he's going to maintain this contact consistency because right now he's got a 99th percentile in expected batting average at 392. And the only thing that's blue on his savant is his bat speed, which is eighth percentile. But like for guys like that, it's almost like it's kind of like similar to like Luis Arias and like Steven Kwan.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like seeing that because like that's just his approach. Like that's just what he does. And like I don't know, like the slow bat speed, like sometimes that's just better to some they're not like swinging and
Oh
like
yeah.
swinging out of their shoes just taking hacks. So that doesn't even scare me at all. If anything, I just like his approach he takes. Um yeah, I'm buying it. Not to 980 OPS, not to the tune of that, but I think he's still gonna take another progression, especially in the power department this year.
Are you buying his pace for a 12 win season? Are you going to buy that?
Is that what it is? I am not.
Okay. Uh,
Cut that in half and then cut that in half,
okay.
maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot, and he's great. And like you said, the bat speed doesn't really matter because all the other stuff it looks really good, and he just
Mhm.
plays his game. And it is encouraging to see him get off to like a really good start. But we've seen that even like the 284, 278 average and that 787, 759 OPS is very serviceable, along with the fact that he can play almost all over the field, which is very helpful for the Cardinals. And yeah, I'm excited. And I kind of wanted to like go through some of the Cardinals numbers because some of these guys are like raking so far. And
Yeah.
I don't know the record off the top of my head, the Cardinals record, but I know they got off to a pretty
I think
decent
they're 6 and 7, 6 and 8, maybe.
5-7.
Okay.
They had a good start, but then I think they ran into some better teams than the Twins. So they I believe they swept the Twins. Yeah, swept the Twins, and then they took one of three from the Angels, and then they got swept by the Red Sox, and then like, they lose a series to the Pirates. So kind of been faltering a little bit. I did want to go back to our shortstop rankings, and where was Mason Wynn on your list?
Was
Was
he
he in the
10?
top 10? Was he
He
kind
was
of
10.
a little high on there?
He doing?
603 OPS? I don't know.
Oh, we want to play that game? I'll play that game. Two things. Orioles, Braves. That's what I want to say.
Okay.
How are they
I'll
doing?
talk about the Orioles later. I don't have much on the Braves.
There's no way you can buy the Orioles.
I I'll get into my argument.
Okay, okay.
I'm hanging on to there, but it's fair. That's fair enough. Um, but looking at okay, so all jokes aside, looking at the Cardinals numbers, Victor Scott is the guy I wanted to talk about. He's got an 806 OPS, one home run, seven RBIs. For him, that's awesome. He had not really transferred the bat over to the major leagues yet, so to see him have pretty decent production with the bat, because you know the defense is going to be so good.
Hmm.
That's awesome to see from him. And then Lars Nootbaar has also been pretty good so far. He got off to a really strong start, and he's walking out as much as he's walking as much as he's striking out. He's got two home runs, 13 hits. Really like to see that. Brendan Donovan, like you said, he's been really good. And then Ivan Herrera had that three home run game shortly before going on to the IL. But that's pretty exciting. And I would be more of a fan of that move to have him be the main catcher, and I still do really like that. But Wilson Contreras has been really bad at first, not even like defensively speaking, but the
Hmm.
bat just has not been there. So hopefully he can kind of pick it back up. But early signs from the Cardinals, the offense looks pretty solid, and I think that's incredibly encouraging for this team. And Jordan Walker, even you sent me
Yeah,
that
I was gonna
picture with
say.
the exit velocities, and he has two of the highest, which is very cool to see, and you're starting to see the potential with that bat. So I don't know. The Cardinals, they're kind of an interesting team right now. Seeing the Cubs and the Brewers play, I still don't think they're better than those two teams, but maybe a long shot for like a wild card spot in the National League. But yeah. Do you have anything else on them?
I'm just looking at Jordan Walker right now because I was gonna point him out because he's just such an up and down player. It's kind of the opposite of Brendan Donovan. Like there's a lot of blue.
Hmm.
Um, there's some red. His average exit velocity is 73rd percentile at 92 miles an hour, but 100 percentile in bat speed. So that's where those um two of the top eight exit velocities this year. That's where that comes from. But
That makes sense.
yeah,
Okay, so. I will get going on my fourth one. This is a team we were honestly both pretty low on to start the season. But I have the Red Sox starting the season 7-7. I'm going to be selling the slow start. Um, so I guess I'm more on the optimistic side of this kind of 500 start, which isn't even like terrible, but probably compared to their expectations, like we've been saying, probably not the best. But what encourages me here is what Christian Campbell and Wilyer Abreu have done. Seeing them both get off to really strong starts is a good sign for me because you have your more dependable bats who are starting to pick it up in Devers and Bregman. Um, Seeing these two kind of lead the charge is kind of maybe where a lot of question marks were on this offense, but seeing them be dependable on top of what you have with the other guys, I think that's a very good sign. Christian Campbell obviously signed that big extension at the start of the season. That's awesome. And he's been great. I was kind of concerned about him being at the major league level, but so far he's looked really, really good and he's been able to produce. Wilyer Abreu, he had that awesome game at the start, the two home run game to kind of lead that win over the Rangers, and he's kept it up. Bregman and Devers have really started to come into their own. They both got off to pretty brutal starts, especially Devers, but they both have started to pick it up as well. Um, I genuinely still have a lot of concerns with this rotation, unfortunately. So maybe I'm more buying the offense here.
Bueller had a great start yesterday.
Did he really?
He did. I mean, I'll look it up real quick.
How bad was his first start then? Because his ERA is still kind of
Not good. So, his first start, 4 innings, 4 earned runs, 7 hits against the Rangers. Second start, 5 innings, 5 earned runs, 7 hits against the Cardinals. And then yesterday he dealt 6.1 innings, only 1 run, 7 strikeouts, and a walk.
okay. So that's
So
good.
yes, very positive to avoid the sweep. They're going to get swept by the Blue Jays, who
Yeah.
I'm also selling their hot start.
Okay. So yes, so Bueller with that good start yesterday, he's got a 5.74 ERA. Tanner Houck's at a 4.41. Crochet looks really good. 18 innings,
Mhm.
1.45 ERA. He's got 17 strikeouts, a
Dude,
1.13
he's so
whip.
nasty.
He looks pretty
Yeah.
solid so far. My one concern on Crochet is he's throwing or two of his three starts, he's throwing a lot of pitches. It's taking him a lot of pitches to get outs, and we're seeing him get to like the fifth or the sixth, and then it kind of gets dicey. But you also saw, I think it was against Baltimore, he went 7 innings, really good pitch count, stuff looked really good. So overall, good stuff with Crochet. My concern would be on, seeing him at 90 pitches through 5 innings. Maybe not the best thing, but still, overall, that's a very encouraging sign because honestly, you're not getting it much else with this rotation. And I think that's kind of where I get concerned again. And we've talked about this a lot. But I do want to say, even with the rotation, the bullpen also looks really good. Seeing Chapman come in and pitch, he looks just as good as ever. So that's very encouraging. Whitlock looks all right. Um, I don't know too many of the other names. Slayton, I know looks pretty good. So overall, I think I'm more I'm more optimistic than I was at the start of the season
Yeah.
on the offensive side. And I think they will start to pick it up here pretty soon. But I still do have my concerns that we shared at the start of the season.
So I'm gonna draw a comparison. You're talking about Garrett Crochet and like he's like their main guy and like everybody else is kind of faltering a little bit.
Hmm.
I'm gonna compare them to like last year's Tigers, where that was like the pitching chaos. I know that was like a totally different thing. Like no teams have really ever done that, but like Tarek School being like the best pitcher in the American League, like far and away, like posting an 18-4 record with
Yeah,
a 500 team, like most of the year, below
right.
500. Um, if Garrett Crochet can be like that guy, like School was for the Tigers, and then everybody else can just kind of piece together like some okay starts, and then their offense just be what we think it can be, because this offense is a lot better than the Tigers' offense was last year. If they can just do something like that with that amazing bullpen, not amazing, but like that good bullpen, I definitely can see them getting by with that and like
Yeah,
getting to like that 86 like wild card win range. Because slowly and slowly, I'm starting to get. I always thought he was good, but you kind of knew what you were talking about because you watched him last year.
yeah,
But the Garrett Crochet hype train, like he is so nasty, and like the bad pitch efficiency in terms or pitch count efficiency, like with 90 pitches or like 100 pitches in like the fifth inning. That's just how it goes with guys that strike out that many
Yeah,
people.
right.
He's not a pitch to contact, and that's what makes him nasty. So he's not going to get through 5 innings in like 50 pitches. So you kind
That's
of have to accept that part.
right. Um,
But yeah, I definitely think that they can piece it together if Crochet keeps us up and the other guys kind of fill some starting rotation roles. So
well, yeah, and I would even say like you would probably agree that the Red Sox offense this year is better than the Tigers one last year, right?
yeah, 100%.
So, like, if you're going to make that comparison with Scooble and kind of like, just finding a way to fill the rest of the space with their pitching, the offense is going to be solid.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, and the Tigers finished with 86 wins last year.
yeah.
So definitely be encouraged, Red Sox fans, by what you're seeing so far. Still, again, I'm gonna stick to what I said at the start of the season and be a little less on the optimistic side. But it is good to see the young talent get going and to see Crochet off to a good start for sure.
Kirsten Campbell is such an X factor. If he can
Yeah,
be who he looks like he can be, that's massive. Like that's a guy you didn't even really pencil in at the beginning of the year, and their offense still looked good before that. So,
right.
do
Yeah.
you think, real quick, are you buying? I know the Tigers are only 7-5. They're not like off to like that hot of a start, but are you buying that they can win that division?
Yeah, so I needed to look at who the Tigers have played so far. Well, they
Our
actually came off
our
a
April schedule is so brutally hard. It's not even funny.
Yeah, so Dodgers, Mariners, White Sox, Yankees. It's pretty impressive to be 7-5 after that stretch of games. I mean, the White Sox, sure you can say, but they got the job done. They won those games when they should have won them. They took two of three from the Yankees, almost swept them. Dodgers, they got swept by, but I'm not gonna like hang that against them. And then the Mariners, did you take two
Two
of
of three.
three? Yeah.
Could have
Um,
been all three, but we had Colt Keith there. But sorry.
what I've seen, and I'll kind of let you talk a little bit more about them, but what I've seen from the Tigers so far is super encouraging. And like I said it on our last episode with the Dodgers series, where even though they lost those three games, I said they were a very competitive team, and I was super encouraged by them. And that has
Which
continued.
felt good because at that point you're 0-3 and it's like what everything looks bleak. But
But they were very competitive, and you've seen that carry over to these other games now where they've won three series in a row. And for the rest of the AL Central, it's kind of been a struggle for a lot of those teams. I mean, the Royals are off to a decent start, but the Guardians are 500, and that's 500 after facing three games
Mhm.
of the White Sox, which, I don't want to call it free wins, but that's not going to be a hard series to win. And then the Twins have been off to a horrific start. They're 4-9. So to see the Tigers get off to a really good start, be 7-5, and have some pretty good competition in there as well. I'm
Yeah.
100% buying into them right now, which is like a completely against where I was at the start of the season, but they look solid. They look really, really good. And I don't think we've talked about him at the podcast yet, but Casey Mize, like
Oh,
coming out of
nasty.
nowhere and looking
So much
dominant in his
better.
first two starts, that's got to be so encouraging. Like super
Hey,
encouraging.
oh, white jerseys, Casey Mize. I
I
didn't
bet.
flip it around.
Well, yeah,
But
we got
I
you.
was on the hype train when he was the 1-1 pick and then fell off a cliff. Now I brought it back out. You guys notice as soon as he starts doing good, I bring back the Mize
Hey, you should
jersey.
take down that Keith jersey then for now.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna just keep a tally on how many losses we have from his errors.
Yeah, there you go. We'll keep a tracker on it. Another thing, 5-1 at home. That home field advantage in Comerica Park is real. I definitely think so.
I,
Um,
I'm I'm not gonna say too much because this isn't even like one of my teams that I had for the buy sell, but their offense looks so much better than I thought it was gonna be.
mhm.
And like losing Parker Meadows and Matt Vierling and even like Wenzel Perez as like a utility guy, I was super pessimistic because those are three of the or two of at least two of the guys that we were kind of gonna lean on this year. And to see like Zach McKinstry step up in a big way, which I don't think that's gonna last at all. Dylan Dingler has looked amazing. Like if he can just be an average hitting catcher, like that's enough. Jake Roger just went on the IL too, but just to have those injuries and still be able to put up runs, like I think they're second in American League in OPS at like 800 or 770 or something like that. So, um, very encouraging.
Real quick, I want to give us an update on our Riley Green Fernando Tatis Jr. battle.
I was looking at that yesterday. It's actually pretty close.
It is. And Riley Green has looked really good. He's got 3 home runs and 851 OPS. Fernando
Yeah,
Tatis, though,
not
he's
quite
got
as
2 home runs, 965 OPS. He looks like a stud. I don't know.
look at
But
him.
still early, still early. So I just wanted to give a little update on that. But
Well, I will say Green is one for his last 13. So he was at like a 1.1 before the Yankees series. So
doesn't he walk
to check.
more than he only has 1 walk this year and 19 strikeouts? Is that concerning at
That's
all?
crazy. I'm looking at that right now. That's brutal.
I
He
thought he
doesn't
walked
look
more than that,
great,
to be honest
honestly.
with you. But
But hey, get that pace again. What? How many home runs is he? I actually want here. I'll look. 12 games.
yeah, I mean, he looks good. I won't deny it. And Dylan Dinger being above a 1 OPS, that's hilarious. And I think Kerry Carpenter hit all 4 of his home runs against the White Sox, which is kind of funny.
He did, yeah. Um, 40.5 home runs this year. 41 home runs from Riley Green. That's what you
Yeah,
can,
I'm gonna sell that. I'm gonna sell that part.
Okay, my next team. Finally get us to move on. Mariners 5-8. I'm sorry, Mariners fans. Like I'm so up and down with this. I know I said it like my hot take was they could win the American League. I'm gonna
What
buy the Colts.
happened? Win the pennant and now we're selling them now?
I'm gonna buy the cold start. Second in OPS, which is the exact same ranking they were at last year. Last year it was 687 OPS. This year it's 636. It's the same story with
Mm.
them, and it's sad, honestly. Here, let me
Oh,
get
I'm
their team
devastated.
stuff.
There was a
But
Mariners guy. We had a Mariners guy, a buyer, and now he's off the train already.
dude, I don't know. This team is just so frustrating. I kind of they're like exciting to me. Like I like watching them, but then I don't because they put up one run in like 13 innings. They'll go into extra innings, but 14th in ERA this year in MLB and they were first last year. So like that's my big concern is like their one thing that they leaned on the most, especially that starting rotation, has not looked what it was advertised. George Kirby still out with a fairly serious injury. I saw he's progressing back, but like I don't think there's like that much of a rush because he's young. You don't want to like hurt his arm, but him being out hurts a lot. Bryce Miller looks totally different from last year. He does not look good at all, which is very scary. Although Logan Gilbert and Luis Castillo both look good, um, Brian Wu is kind of solid, but just like after those three guys, like Emerson Hancock, had one start, got killed by the Tigers, and he got sent down. Like he was okay last year as like a five starter, and like I don't know, this bullpen isn't as good as like kind of we thought it was gonna be, or like they always piece it together and figure stuff out, but just I don't know. They're leaning on the pitching, and they got three guys right now, and after that, there's not much.
Yeah.
Victor Robles just got hurt. He's out for like 3 to 4 months. He broke like multiple things. Did you see that catch?
It was the net catch.
Yeah.
Oh, and they
He
lost that
broke.
game
I don't
too.
know what he
That's
broke, but it's not a good injury at all. Um, and yeah, even if Julio and Cal play how we expect, like this offense is still not good, and like they got a negative 15 run differential right now. There's some bright spots like Jorge Polanco. I don't know why they re-signed him. They must have thought that he could have returned to previous form, and he's been good. So that's huge if he can do that. But just I don't know, dude. I don't think this team. I don't think this offense is built for to be very good, and this pitching is looking scarier. And if one more injury hits, like if Logan Gilbert or Luis Castillo goes down, this team is done, you know?
right. Yeah, and I think you could also make the argument with the division too of are they better than the Astros? Are they better than the Rangers? And now even you could say the Angels. And like if they run into the Angels early in the season, they're probably going to lose that series too. Um, yeah, I'm not going to like argue with anything that you said. It's all the concerns everybody has about the Mariners on top of now the rotation being a little more lackluster than it has been recently. And yeah, it sucks, but that's just kind of the state of where the Mariners are at right now.
I want to say one more thing.
Okay.
This is funny. So we're not doing game of the week because this episode's already gonna be kind of long. We're just gonna kind of go through more takeaways after Travis gets his last hot
Yep.
cold buy sell. But my game of the week was gonna be the Mariners walk-off win. So it's so like, which was awesome. They won 7-6 and walked off the Astros after being down 5-0.
Yep.
Grand slam, a Rosarina, walk-off walk, a Rosarina. But I just want to say that like I'm not totally against the Mariners.
It is
Just
so
it's so up and down.
it's so strange because they are like you see like a lot of the clips you see from Seattle when you do see them are like awesome for some reason and like the energy is really good there. And then you remember that like oh they're losing two of the three of that series and
Mhm.
they only scored one run in the other two games. So it's just kind of funny too because like the moments you do see from Seattle would have you convinced they're like a top end team, but then you get back to reality and it's like kind of like you were saying. So my last team is the Orioles. It sucks to for because I really want to keep clinging on to this team, and I still believe in them, and they're still without Gunnar Henderson. Um, my point was on the rotation, and originally I was saying like selling it, like thinking they'll be okay, but it's so hard to want to do that. Like, can I be like a middle of the road where it's like I don't buy or I sell, I just kind of stay here, or do you want me to go one way or the other?
Can you give me an exact record prediction right now for how they're gonna finish?
A record prediction? What?
Do you think they're gonna get to 90 wins, Travis?
I think they can. I think they can.
Okay, okay. That's so. I'm gonna say you're selling the
Okay.
start. I'll say it for you.
Okay. Thank you. So I did just see Eflin got put on the AL. That's the first time I'm hearing about it, which is unfortunate. But he is one of the guys that's actually been pretty good so far. So the main three I'm looking at, Zach Eflin, he's got a 3 ERA in 18 innings so far. That's fine. Dean Kremer has been horrible. Charlie Morton has been horrible. Cade Povich, encouraging. 3.48 ERA in 10 and a third innings with a 1.23 FIP. That's very good. Sugano, 2.89 ERA and 9 and a third. That's a 4.58 FIP though. I think that he's going to finish low fours probably, maybe even mid fours by the end of the season. Having Eflin go down just sucks even more
Oh, it's
now,
so
like
brutal.
because he's been good, and just now that you're not going to have him for a couple turns in the rotation is brutal, especially looking at who else they're getting starts from. Like it's now like in a series now, it's going to be like Kremer, Morton, and Povich, and then Sagano maybe, depending on what like the order is, and you're not giving yourself many good chances to win with that kind of with that. So that gets me concerned, but I'm just still holding on to the offense and the bullpen. And I don't know when Gunner's coming back, but at some point, if you can get Eflin and Rodriguez on the same rotation healthy for even
Mhm.
just like a month or two, I'm confident in that or confident in what they could do with that. I'm hoping that can happen at some point, and I'm hoping they can get hot at some point just with the rotation. But I think it's still possible. I'm still holding on hope, and I still believe in this team as a whole to be really, really solid. Um, I don't have much else on that. Do you have any thoughts on the Orioles?
It's so hard to not be down on this team.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Morton looks so bad. Like, and I don't think that's gonna get much better. I know it's not gonna be an 8.8 ERA, but he's already had three starts. Haven't even had a chance in those three starts. He's 0-3. Cade Povich, 3.48. Yes, that's not a bad ERA at all, but he's got a 1.84 whip with a 380 batting average again. So like he's just kind of tiptoeing by.
Yeah.
Dean Kremer, terrible, like 8.16 ERA with a 1-2 record. Like if your starters are posting these that bad of numbers, that like there's no way this hitting is not has not been good enough to withstand that. And there's not really any offense that can keep their team in it when their starting pitchers are doing that. So like right now, their top three guys batting average against 309, 378, and 333. Like that's absolutely terrifying. And losing Eflin is brutal. So I don't know, dude. It's so hard not to be down on this team.
Yeah, I will say, looking at all the numbers from the guys to start the season, like WRC plus. So Cedric's got a 186, Jordan Westburg's 137, Adley 137, Urias has got a 129, O'Hearn 146, O'Neill 165. Um, it's encouraging to see that level of production across the diamond, and that's without Gunner right now too.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% like I have no argument against what you're saying. I
And doesn't that almost make it scarier that their offense has been good and they still can't even piece together wins, like series
so
win?
I just looked it up. Their team OPS is like 682, which I don't like. That's kind of weird to me that it is that low when I'm looking at like the individual numbers. So they got off to a super hot start in that series against Toronto, and then kind of looking at some of their previous games, it hasn't been as good. Um, like they've I don't know. Like so they scored they put 12 in that first game, then 2 and then 9. And
Yeah.
then they put up 1 in that other Blue Jays series. So they split that one. They put up 8 against Boston and then 0 and then 4, 2, 8, 1, 5, 3, 0. So yeah, it hasn't really been fantastic, I would say. I don't know. There's just this false hope in me, I guess, that thinks the Orioles are a good team. But maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't look great for me so far, but I'm gonna stick to my guns and hopefully that pans out well over the season.
It's exciting when they're good. Like
Yeah,
I want them to be good. Like they're an exciting, they're still like a young team.
right.
It's just, I don't know, dude. It's just so tough. And this was the worry going in, and it's kind of panned out to be how a lot of people expected it, especially with that rotation.
Yep. Yep. Do you have
So
any
yeah,
other
just
thoughts to kind of?
other takeaways.
Yeah.
I'll I'll say the Rangers look very scary. Like they look very good.
Yes.
Jack Leiter looks amazing. Langford looks so good. He kind of looked as advertised. He did hit the shelf, which sucks.
Hmm.
I think he's gonna when he comes back, I think he's gonna take massive steps to be like a star. Like I think he could be an all-star this year if he comes back at a decent time. Um, and then another guy I want to point out, Jonah Heim. Let me go to his savant, but he looks great. And last year he went from 2023, he had a very solid season. He's a good defender. 18 home runs, 95 RBIs, 258 average with a 755 OPS and a 106 OPS plus. All-Star 2023. And then last year took a huge step back offensively, 220 average, 602 OPS, which is brutal. And then this year he's kind of returned to that offensive 2023 season, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs with a 931 OPS and a 170 OPS plus. That's huge for them. Higashioka has not been great as of now. Um, so like that's massive, and their pitching has looked pretty solid. Yeah, I think this team is very good, and I think they're gonna win this division. As of right now, I know that's a pretty quick flip because I had the Astros.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna ask.
Easy to say now, but yeah, I think this team is so good.
Yeah, they've looked impressive. And that's even with like I know Jock Peterson hasn't been great so far, and neither has Marcus Simeon. So still seeing them be an impressive record and look very competitive is a good sign and very optimistic, especially with the Houston has not been off to a great start either. A lot of their pieces they've added have not looked great, like Christian Walker and Isak Praise have not been good. Um,
Yeah.
so I definitely agree with what you're saying there. I want to give a quick shout to the Royals, 7-6 right now. Uh, that rotation is everything we built it up to be.
Mhm.
Reagan's looks incredibly filthy. I know he's on your fantasy team, so you know that just about as well as
Oh
anybody.
yeah.
But he is so good. I would not be surprised if he's in the Cy Young conversation by the end of the year. Striking out 35% of the time, 2.81 ERA with a 1.72 FIP in 16 innings. Chris Bubich still has not let up an earned run in 12
He
and
is.
2
I
innings.
think he's gonna be so good this year. He's so nasty.
The worst guy is Michael Wacha at a 4.2, and that's through 15 innings. Otherwise, Lugo's got a 3.2, and Lorenzen's got a 3.18. They're getting production from all five guys. And the fact that they're 7-6, while the offense is still pretty underwhelming, gets me
Yeah.
pretty excited. It's like the reverse of Baltimore, except it's working for Kansas City right now in a way.
Yeah.
Because like even Bobby Witt Jr. hasn't been like normal Bobby Witt Jr. Michael Garcia's kind of come out of nowhere with a 126 WRC plus, which is encouraging. Jonathan India, unfortunately, is at a 98, which just kind of sucks. But he's at a 357 on base. So I'm going to hang true to what I said at the start of the season with him. So yeah, hoping to see the offense kind of find itself again. But looking at a lot of the numbers for the guys and like some of the guys you were concerned about, like Isbell's got an 86 WRC plus.
Yeah.
Pascantino hasn't found it yet either. Hunter Renfroe's at a 20 WRC plus, and the defense is still horrible. I don't know if you've seen any of his lowlights, but like those have been bad. Um, so it's kind of like the same story with the Royals last year, but the rotation of the bullpen, man, they look really, really good. And
Oh,
this
they look even
offense,
better than last year.
it just need to be somewhere average. Like I don't want to even like, would you say it's kind of like a Mariner situation, like similar, where, but to me, like the Royals offense is better than the Mariners offense.
Yeah, you have the Bobby Witt, and
Right.
like Julio has not stepped into that
Yeah.
Bobby Witt role.
So I honestly, any game right now, like I think it's fair to say any game the Royals are in, they have a good shot to win with any of their five starters. And that's something that a lot of teams can say right now, which makes
Yeah.
me very encouraged for my pick for them to win the AL Central. And I'm still gonna hang true to that and think
Yeah,
that
I think that's fair. I think what you said about the them being the flip of the Orioles is perfect because that's like completely how it is. Like this offense. Okay, are you I'll say this. Are you This is more of a question for me, I guess, because I'm the one that's been trashing the Orioles pitching, but is the Orioles pitching as bad as the Royals offense is? Like which unit are you lower on?
I'm definitely lower on the Orioles rotation.
Okay.
I
I think
think,
that's I
yeah.
think this offense is bad, but Pascantino and Salvi being not great, I think that'll change.
And I think
Um,
Bobby being at a 122, like I know that's still pretty good, but it'll be higher, I think, for
yeah,
him. Like it has to be. Um, and it's crazy to say, but I feel like almost every guy outside of Michael Garcia has gotten off to a slow start.
yeah,
And I think it'll get better as time goes on. At least I'm hoping. The MJ Melendez breakout is not happening though. He's got a 10 WRC plus,
that's
unfortunately.
brutal. Dude, I'm looking at their bullpen. Their bullpen is so good. Hunter Harvey, 5.1 innings, only giving up one hit, no walks, just one hit, .19 whip with seven Ks.
Maybe with
Carlos
Estevez too.
Estevez,
Estevez,
huh?
Urseg and Estevez both.
Yeah. Estevez, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 143 batting average against. Ursig, 6.1 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, .47 whip. Like the guys, like you said, everything that they were advertised to be, they've been. And then they've added Bubic, they've added Lorenzen, who's always been solid as like a four starter. So like this team, and it's almost, would you agree that like when a team has really good pitching and bad hitting, you're a lot more comfortable with saying that they can be a good team compared to bad pitching and good hitting because dude, there's just something about like teams starting pitching being like horrible that just like I don't know, it's so hard to like get behind that and like
Yeah.
think a team like that's gonna be good
I'm
in my.
way more enthusiastic about the Royals than I am Baltimore right now. And I think like exactly like what you said, like going into a game knowing you have a Reagans, a Bubic, a Waka, whoever it is, like knowing you're gonna be in that game those first 6 innings and have a chance to score runs and probably take a lead, I think is way more encouraging and like beneficial for your team than going into a game thinking, man, I got to score like 5 or 6 runs in these first couple innings to keep it close
Exactly.
and to keep us in the game.
Yeah.
I think it's more dependable to have a good rotation than to rely on a good offense. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely more in tune with what the Royals are doing, especially in that division where probably less competitive than the AL East is. So yeah, I definitely think I'd be more optimistic about them.
Yeah.
Is
Do
there
you have any
anything
other
else?
takeaways? I do not.
I think we've covered a lot of the bases here. Cubs. Cubs look really good. I'm very excited about my pick for them to win the Central this year. That offense looks amazing so far, and it's so fun to
Yeah.
watch too. The bullpen's a little scary. They've won a few games already, which, that is kind of concerning. But Kyle Tucker, man, we were both kind of thinking dark horse NL MVP, and he's lived up to that. 5 home runs at a 1.130 OPS. My player of the week last week as well. Seiya Suzuki, he's gotten off to a really good start, 970
Yeah.
OPS with 4 home runs. The catching tandem of Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya has also looked solid so far. Kelly obviously hit that cycle, but he's been really good outside of that as well. Where's Nico Horner? I want to find him. Okay. 745 OPS, 8 RBIs, striking out less than he's walking. He's got a 326 average. That's good for the Nico Horner agenda. Very excited to see that. Defense is still really good as well. Yeah, Michael Bush, even I was pretty high on Michael Bush. He's got an 814 OPS. He looks solid too. They're getting production here, and Shota Imanaga looks really good. Justin Steele's had a few good starts. Boyd has also looked really good. I'm still super high on this Cubs team, and I've loved what I've seen so far. The bullpen is still really concerning, like I said. Thielbar doesn't look good. Porter Hodge has struggled a bit. Even Presley's had his fair share of struggles in the closer role. So
Yeah.
and you've seen them blown a few games now where they have a big lead and then the bullpen comes in and it's gone pretty
Mhm.
quick. So that's the one area I would be very concerned about. But as long as this offense keeps doing what they're doing, I think they can sustain this for a full season. And I think the NL Central is theirs for the tanking right now.
I agree with the hitting. The hitting's obviously I think they had like the most runs scored or like second or third. They're up there. Um, but this pitching does scare me, and even the starting pitching scares me because Justin Steele, what was his injury? He just had a pretty bad injury. He just went down.
Did he actually? I gotta
Yeah.
get better at keeping track with injuries. I find out when I look into these guys that they go
On
out.
IL with elbow tendonitis, elbow.
That's not good.
So that's scary for me. Um, and like I think he's great, but like if he's down, Ben Brown has not looked good.
Oh,
Shota has been amazing. I'm not worried at all about him. Tyone is kind of returning to who he was before, and then Matt Boyd has looked amazing. So it just kind of I don't know. Right now it's just Shota and Boyd that look good. And then after that, like, how much can you rely on Ben Brown and Jameson Tyone?
right.
But I guess if this offense is putting up the runs they're putting up, you don't really have to worry about that. You still got two starting pitchers that you can rely on. Um, so yeah, I still think they're going to be a very solid team. Those are just a couple concerning things for me right now. But
I wouldn't be surprised if Cade Horton is up pretty soon. He's their top pitching prospect in the system. He's looked amazing so far in the minor leagues in his first
yeah,
couple outings. Yeah, he's got 2 starts, 7 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts at a 1.23 ERA.
wow.
Opponents are hitting 167 against him. He might be up sooner rather than later, especially with the Steel news now. And that
Triple
could
A,
be,
I assume.
what was that?
Triple A.
Yeah, AAA, AAA.
Okay.
So he might be a good call up candidate now, especially more than ever. But yeah, and even like you normally look at like your 7, 8, 9 for the bullpen. Like who is going to be your 7, 8, 9 for the Cubs is like a good question. Like I think in an ideal world, it's Brazier going in the seventh, Hodge in the eighth, and then Presley in the ninth. And you could probably flip flop Hodge and Presley if you wanted
Impressive,
to.
yeah.
But I think ideally that's what you're looking at. But I mean, Brazier's only pitched an inning, which he may be hurt, honestly. I don't know why he hasn't come in more than that. Porter Hodge, 7 innings, 2.57 ERA. Not
Even
really
like
that bad at
Colin
all.
Ray as like a
Yeah.
seventh or eighth guy.
Right. And then Presley he's got a 3.86 ERA in 7 innings pitched. He's 3 for 3 on save opportunities, so I guess he's doing his job. But 11 hits, he's kind of getting hit a lot. So, Mace.
2.43 whip with a 393 batting average against. So
Yeah. Let me see Ryan Brazier because I was pretty excited about him because he's that Dodger guy, but he might be. No, I don't see anything. I guess they just haven't. Oh, no. Okay. Headed to IL with a hip issue. So he is on the injured list right now. So that
hmm,
makes sense. I was kind of more optimistic about him being here and
yeah.
being a high leverage guy, but I guess without him, they're definitely hurting so a little bit. But still, nonetheless, I think Cubs, yeah, very optimistic about them. Yeah, anything
Yeah,
else?
I think that's it for me. We
All
covered
right.
a lot of
Yeah,
teams.
we did cover a lot. Hopefully enough to cover the 2 weeks of baseball that we did miss. But we
Mhm.
should be back next week as well, just back to like the weekly episodes, so long as nothing changes. But we're both very busy with finals and stuff like that. It's one of the busiest times of the semester for us. So hopefully we'll be able to get out something for you guys next week. I'm sure we'll be able to. But yeah, it's been fun. Baseball season is strong and underway, and we've been enjoying it. So thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode, episode 25. If you want more Loose and Groovy content, be sure to follow us on social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all at Loose and Groovy Baseball Show. Thank you so much for tuning in if you made it this far. Signing off for me and Parker. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.